In the same week that Seoul hosted a major United Nations forum aimed at peacekeeping, South Korean President Moon Jae-in attended a virtual meeting seen as widening the gap between the United States and its allies on one side and China and Russia on the other. The two-day Summit for Democracy, hosted by the White House, also kicked off just days after the US announced it will stage a diplomatic boycott of the upcoming Winter Olympics in Beijing due to China's human rights abuses. And here at the Foreign Ministry in Seoul, that must have caused a diplomatic headache. On Wednesday, South Korea responded by repeating its principled support for the 2022 Winter Games, expressing hope that it will contribute to peace and inter-Korean relations. But at the same time, we heard from a Cheongwadae official suggesting no decision's been made, while other American allies like Australia, Britain, Canada and New Zealand have said they won't send diplomatic representatives to Beijing 2022. So there's been much interest in what President Moon would have to say when briefing dozens of world leaders at the Summit for Diplomacy, especially with China and Russia not being invited and strongly denouncing the meeting for causing global division. And though US President Joe Biden has no qualms standing against China and Russia, his South Korean counterpart avoided targeting them. So you might ask, what did he say then? He addressed the importance of protecting democracy, but rather than implying specific threats, he identified general dangers: populism and extremism, inequality and polarization, fake news, and hate and hatred. This point about fake news is interesting because President Moon went further.
개인의 자유와 표현의 자유는 확고히 보장하되 모두를 위한 자유와 함께 조화를 이룰 수 있어야 합니다. 가짜 뉴스로부터 민주주의를 지킬 수 있는 자정 능력을 키워야 합니다.
Though South Korea is concerned about pandemic misinformation, Moon's tone contrasted with other leaders being more explicit, including Japanese Prime Minister Fumio-Kishida expressing concern over China's aggression. And can Seoul continue to steer between Washington and Beijing? Many of us will be aware of China's past retribution for South Korea's agreement to station America's THAAD missile defense on this peninsula, but Seoul certainly has more in common with those participating in the Summit for Democracy compared with, say, Pakistan, whose Prime Minister Imran-Khan decided not to attend, and Hungary, the only EU member state not to be invited. In this growing Cold War atmosphere, South Korea is already allied to the US militarily, and even recently risked upsetting China by agreeing to protect peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. But we are also approaching a presidential election in March, one that could alter Seoul's direction. For now, the Beijing Winter Olympics in February could be a last chance for President Moon's attempt to leave a legacy of cooperation and peace on this peninsula, even at a time when nations are being pressured to take sides, and Seoul may not be able to stay in the middle.